Hi everyone, this is Kuneet and I have today with me Mr. John and Mrs. Caroline who has come all the way from the Caribbean, from St. Lucia to India for Mrs. Caroline's medical treatment. So I'm going to discuss with them how has been their overall experience so far receiving a treatment and from, straight from the pre-travel arrangements to arriving at a diagnosis and receiving treatment in India finally. So thank you so much to both of you. So please tell me a bit about your background and where do you come from, how did you end up being to India?
Hi, thank you. My name is John Mathran and I'm here with my wife Caroline Mathran. We are from the island of St. Lucia in the West Indies. Over 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, my wife was diagnosed with a tumor on the right side of her neck. And as we sought care for it, it continued to grow to the point where it was influencing the space beneath her brain. It had moved from 3 centimeters until we get care, 8 centimeters, a little over 8 centimeters. Being cognizant of the complexity of what we were facing, we sought care in St. Lucia, our home country, and when that was insufficient, we sought care in the Barren Islands of Martinique, where healthcare is supposedly better. We were able to obtain CT scans, but then beyond that, there was no care available. It was left for us to manage our own patient care, and so we ended up in Barbados. The experience in Barbados was far better in that we were able to again have to repeat the entire process of diagnostics. But even there, critical care was insufficient. Having been in a position of despondency, we sought the assistance of friends and family, and through an associate who had been to India and who incidentally had obtained care through Medigence, Warren Montgomery, he connected us to Medigence. The amazing thing is, immediately upon contact with Amit Bansal, he created a patient care network, a virtual patient care network that included the patient, myself as next of kin, family members, and even the possible network of medical providers and Medigence. So that network of care was able to provide immediate communication, an immediate communication platform to manage the patient care. And from that get-go, the confidence started building. Confidence both from us as family members and caregivers and next of kin, and also the patient, which I think is absolutely critical when you are administering critical care, is the confidence of the patient, the confidence of the environment that is being built, that aids in the healing process. Unfortunately, we were seeking care at a time of COVID-19, so it became exceedingly difficult for the process. But through that care network, you had yourself, Gunit, Amit himself, and immediately the Medigence started filling the care process with the necessary professionalism to make it happen. It expanded from just caregiver, next of kin, and medical provider to even medical government institutions like the embassy, the Indian embassy in Suriname. So all of those players came in to create that kind of care network that became critical, even at a time when it was almost impossible to get care. And we were able to get the care. When we flew into India, when we flew from St. Lucia into India, the government of England shut down the borders between India and London. And so the quick action of our caregivers, Medigence and Gunit especially, through that action we were able to connect through to Hyderabad and then to Delhi. And then we started the care process. What's so unique about this is that in the initial consultation with the medical providers, they indicated the grave situation with the pandemic in India. It was literally ravaging. I mean, we came here on the 24th, 26th of April, and you had the pandemic ravaged in India. And we were not able to perhaps get care until weeks later, 3 to 4 weeks later. But the unique thing is, Medigence stepped in. And as a result of their stepping in, what should have taken weeks to provide initial care only took a few days. And so we were able to access, again, re-diagnostics of our situation, preliminary care, and then the care given to Caroline. But in that whole process, what is absolutely commendable was not just the professionalism of the medical providers, but the level of patient care given outside of the field of medicine. Here we are, 14,000 kilometers away from our homeland, in a country that we have never been before, with people speaking a language you don't understand, with people looking different. So this definitely will have an impact on the patient and the quality of comfort. But the immediacy of that comfort came when the language barrier was broken and you felt like family. So there was no longer this feeling that you were in a strange land, until we went over on the internet and realizing how far away we are from our own homeland, and it was scary to realize, well, you were the only one in that part. But the comfort that you had created allowed for, of course, that level of comfort and care to be administered, to the point where we had a very successful major surgery. And immediately after surgery, my wife can speak and she can move, thanks to the team MedGens. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you so much. And I remember during our initial conversations, because how confusing the diagnosis was, and there were contradictory reports from CT scan done in St. Lucia, and maybe the reports or the doctor summary which was available from Barbados as well. So initially I remember that you availed a virtual telemedicine consultation as well, to have a clear idea as to that this is what is planned for her and this is what she exactly needs, and this is what the plan is going to be, the different possibilities for treatment depending on the diagnosis. So what kind of comfort did the initial telemedicine consultation through our platform give you? And did it clear your doubts, or did it actually help you, arrive at a decision related to medical travel as well?
Absolutely. The introduction of telemedication or telemedicine was what sealed the deal, because electronically, what I call tele-electronically, we were able to pre-diagnose and get closer to an exactitude, for lack of a better terminology, of what exactly we are to expect. And through telemedicine, the care providers, MedGens was able to pinpoint exactly, or to a great degree of perfection or exactitude, what it is that we are going to be facing and what we need to do. So the latitude of care narrowed down to these possibilities, and through telemedicine, the consultation process have been undertaken, diagnostics have been undertaken. So prognostication was far easier for us and for the patient as well. So I would say that moving forward, it's going to be critical that MedGens continue on that platform of telemedicine, so that there is telecommunication on the patient, there is teleprofiling of the patients, and there is tele-administrative processes. So all of those will continue to help and improve on the service, an already great service. So telemedicine is perhaps the wave of the future right now when it comes to patient care.
Yeah.
What it means is that there is access to care is granted internationally. So it has literally shrunk the distance platform, so that we can literally get to a point of administering care regardless of the distance. You've literally taken the flight and the distance away from caregiving.
Yeah. So, if I talk about specifically about people from Western countries, or in fact, people from the Caribbean region as well, people from Barbados, from St. Lucia, from Martinique, or maybe from Trinidad, they have a perception
Yes.
of India as to, it's a faraway land,
Yes.
and they have heard stories about, about the country, and even though they know that medical infrastructure is available, but still they are not very confident about whether,
Yes.
they want to choose India as one of their, preferred destination for medical treatment, even though there is a huge difference between the cost of treatment in the US, which is of
Yes.
course one of the preferred destinations, and in India. But how has your experience been in India for medical treatment? Because you've spent about 2 months in the country, and about the language, about people, about the kind of care that you have received, about the hospital, and about the support, the overall support that you have received. Both of you have received so far.
And that's one of the things that, that is profound about our visit, is that Western media has given us an image of India as a third world country. And so that kind of labeling has denied many of us in the West Indies, in the Caribbean, access to care. Let me just tell you that we too harbored the thought that perhaps India was not sufficiently skilled and equipped to provide efficacious care to our cause, to our case. But after the initial contact with Medigence and the telemedicine platform created, we became more confident. Here is what's so important. From the very moment we landed in Delhi at the international airport, it was clear that we were not in a third world environment. As a matter of fact, even at that point of entry, we realized that we were being accommodated in an environment that is far superior to even what's being marketed and advertised as first world. I will tell you this. I walked the street of India, of Noida, from the hotel where we stayed at to the hospital, and was absolutely intrigued at the development. The pavement is absolutely well architectured, with bricks that represent the culture of the environment. The people who didn't know me and didn't speak my language didn't see me as someone different. So immediately it created an environment of relaxation. Okay? When we arrived at the care facility, we were profoundly impressed with not just the environment, because the hospital looks like a hotel, like a 4 or 5-star hotel, but also the latitude of care. So we decided to do some investigation on our own, only to recognize that you have thousands of care providers in India, hundreds perhaps of thousands of efficient caregivers to provide the care. And therefore, India is a hidden gem for medical care. That alone gave us the confidence that we had done the absolute right decision. But then we started comparing the cost of treatment to what it would be at home and what it would be in perhaps a first world country. Here was what's profound. The cost of preliminary care in India is far cheaper and far superior to that of our Caribbean environment. This is no boast, hands down, there is no secret in that right now. The cost of treatment of our particular situation would be impossible and prohibitive for us if we had to seek that very same care in a so-called first world metropolitan country. In India, because of the emphasis on health care and on affordable health care, there was no great difference between me as an international care seeker and that of a local Indian citizen seeking care. All treated as one, all had access to care at about the same cost from the comparison that I have done. And I will tell you this, there are some procedures that we undertook that is 1/4 or less the cost of seeking that very same care in a first world country. The mere cost of a CT scan is 1/2 the cost in, say, Barbados. So the profound impact, again psychological, is that we were duped. And I will say to anyone looking at this interview that I have made that decision. In fact, I was saying that to Amit earlier, that I will prepare myself to return to India to do my own diagnostics because I'm so comfortable with the environment created by the Indian society for care for us.
Well, thank you so much. And did you both get an opportunity to roam around, maybe shop something?
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. That's the thing with medical tourism. It's vacation and care seeking all rolled into one, and that's profound. That actually got me going because, and that is part of the caregiving as well. Because post-operation, post-care now, the patient is well enough to now enjoy the Indian environment, the Indian destination. And part of the healing process was having to be gifted by Medigent with a trip to the Taj Mahal and Carol's 50th birthday. Just the awe of, it's an impossibility for us to have considered ever having access to that kind of cultural aspect. And we would never have dreamt, and that is very important to me, we would never have dreamt it possible. You see it in the books and the movies and Incredible India, you see all of that. But we have never have dreamt it absolutely possible through such a life and death situation to have access to something so cultural. So we can say part of the healing process continuing for Medigent has to be giving the patient access to the cultural aspects of India, because that's what it's all about, tourism. I mean, to have an environment that is far different from yours, that gives you profound humanitarian respect for the global environment around you. And the Taj Mahal did just that for us.
And any challenges with maybe cuisine or food that you experience?
Oh, absolutely. Now, with all of the grandeur positivities that I have given, the greatest challenge was the cuisine. When in India, when you say please 0 spice, they mean 50% of what we usually put. So moving forward, I would suggest to future patients that they first look at the Indian cuisine culture and to be able to blend themselves into it. So they would have to report to Medigents and the caregiver exactly who they are in the culture so that the preparation can be made. But that was one of the biggest challenges for us, is to adapt to the cuisine and the spices. We were looking forward to tasting the diversity of spices, but everything is hot in India.
And it's summers as well, so
yes.
So that's another reason. But apart from that, any other challenges that you faced, or maybe you want people to know that this is what they should prepare for?
There is one. Because of the perception created in our minds, we came to India with United States currency. US currency is no money here. It's not necessary, it's not needed.
Yeah.
So at every single juncture of our transactional processes, we had to literally find and fish our way into converting United States dollars into Indian rupees. So moving forward, I would also say to any clientele coming from, or patient coming from our environment, to ensure that they familiarize themselves with the Indian rupee and get as much rupee or access to rupees before coming. No need to come with United States dollars, it's not helpful.
Okay, thank you. And how do you feel? Maybe in a sentence or two, how do you feel? How has your experience been? And now that you are perfectly fine, how do you feel? How is your overall feeling?
Well, I feel renewed. I feel fresh. I feel good. But the thing is that I'm alive, and I'm very thankful for that. Thank you to India. Thanks to everybody who has supported me and who has allowed me to live a new life. I'm very thankful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm pretty sure both of you are very happy, and you will be taking back a lot of memories.
Oh, absolutely.
Apart from good health, you'll be taking back a lot of good memories with you. And last word, any suggestions on improvement as to, that you have something in your mind that you think that should be improved in the overall process, or maybe, could be an added advantage for the patients. Any comments on that?
Yes, one of the foreboding aspects of the trip to India was the distance. And so commute between St. Lucia, the Caribbean, and India, if we can work to improve on that, that will help. It was more difficult, of course, in the time of COVID.
Yeah.
But in the process of care, once you are through with the telemedicine process, and it has been assumed that the patient needs to fly physically to obtain care, it will be prudent and perhaps necessary that the travel component is a little more seamless, so that you have travel advisors who can connect the dots, and so that the patient does not have to be managing that aspect of it, because the visa process, that is taken care of by Medigents, yes, but the whole process of travel can be a little more seamless moving forward, so that the patients would have a greater sense of confidence in the process. So there will be little room to doubt whether I should fly to India. Once you can establish that level of smooth commute, then we're fine. That's the way.
Yeah, sure. I think we should, definitely work on it, because considering the
Yes.
the distance, that's also one of the apprehensions that people from the Caribbean have in their
Yes.
mind, that distance, whether they connect through the US or they connect through France or London. So that's one of the things. But I'm pretty sure that once COVID-19 restrictions
Oh,
are
absolutely.
lifted off,
Absolutely.
it would become a bit easier for them to commute. But then this is something that should be definitely looked into.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much to
You're
both of
absolutely
you
welcome.
for your time and for the kind words as well. And I'm pretty sure that anybody viewing this video will get to know a lot about the country, your overall experience, and it'll help clear off some of the apprehensions that people usually have about India as a medical tourism destination.
Thank you very
So,
much. Thank you, India.
Yeah, and we anyway keep connected for the post-care as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
So,
Thank you so much.
thank you so much. Thank you.